So, you've definitely heard the term zero trust thrown around. It's everywhere, but it's way more than just the latest cybersecurity buzzword. It's actually a fundamental shift in how we think about protecting, well, everything digital. So, let's cut through the noise and get right into what it is and why it matters so much. Okay, let's just start with a really direct question. Think about it. Is the security you rely on every day built for a world that's already ancient history? Is it built for an office with four walls and a server in the basement? Because that is the exact problem that Zero Trust was born to solve. You see, for decades, security was pretty simple, at least in concept. You built a strong wall around all your important stuff, kind of like a castle with a big moat. The whole game was about keeping the bad guys out and just assuming that everyone and everything inside was totally safe and trustworthy. And this really shows you the heart of the problem. The old way was all about that strong wall, that perimeter. But today's reality? Well, that wall, it's not just cracked, it's completely gone. It is totally vanished. And here is exactly why that old model is so broken. Our most important data? It's sitting in the cloud, in places like AWS. Our employees? They're logging in from coffee shops, from their living rooms, from everywhere. Our developers are pushing critical code from iPads. The whole idea of a safe inside versus a dangerous outside, it's just obsolete. The castle has collapsed. So, if we can't trust the network anymore, what's the plan? We have to completely change our mindset. And this leads us to a brand new rule. It's incredibly simple, but it is also incredibly powerful. This, right here, this is the absolute heart and soul of Zero Trust. It basically means we don't care where a request is coming from. It could be the CEO's laptop inside the main office or some random device on the other side of the planet. It doesn't matter. Every single request to access a resource has to prove it's legitimate. Every single time. Now, this isn't just some vague idea. It's a real strategy, and it's built on three very solid foundational principles. Think of these as the playbook for building a modern, effective security posture. Let's break each one of them down. Okay, first up, verify explicitly. This means a simple username and password, just don't cut it anymore, not even close. We now have to look at all kinds of signals to be sure. Are you really who you say you are? Is the device you're using secure and up to date? Are you logging in from a place we'd expect? Is this normal behavior for you at this time of day? It's like a constant, multi-layered identity check. So here's a perfect real-world example. Let's say you're already logged into your work account on your laptop, but the second you try to open something super sensitive, like the company's payroll system from your brand new phone, the system puts on the brakes. It says, whoa, hold on a second, and forces you to prove your identity all over again. That is explicit verification in action. All right, the second pillar is all about being precise and limiting the blast radius. Gone are the days of giving employees the keys to the entire kingdom just in case they need them. Instead, you give them the one specific key to the one specific door they need to open, and that key only works for the exact amount of time they need it. Think about it like this. A marketing contractor you just hired, they have absolutely no business being in the engineering source code. So, with least privilege, they get read-only access to a single marketing folder, and that permission is automatically set to just disappear in 7 days. It's all about shrinking the risk by being incredibly precise with control. Now, this last principle, this one requires a huge mental shift. It's telling us to stop trying to build a perfectly impenetrable fortress, and instead to operate as if an attacker is already inside. So the whole focus flips from perfect prevention to lightning-fast detection and containment. So how does that actually work? Well, network segmentation is a great example. You can think of it like watertight compartments on a ship. If one area gets breached, the flood is contained. So, an attacker who manages to break into a web server can't just wander over and start poking around in the critical finance database. Their movement is totally restricted. Okay, so we've covered the philosophy, right? The what's and the why. But how do we actually build this thing? It's not magic. It's all about using technologies that many of us already have, but using them in a much smarter and more connected way. Just take a look at some of these. We're talking about core identity systems that you've probably heard of, like Microsoft's Azure AD or Okta, and cloud platforms like AWS. These things become the engine that enforces all our rules.
For instance, Azure AD can check if your device is compliant before it lets you in. Okta can look at a login, assign it a risk score, and demand more proof if it looks fishy. And AWS can grant what's called just-in-time access, where critical permissions are given for just a few minutes and then poof, they're gone.
Now, here's the part that really ties it all together. It's the secret sauce. Behind all these policies and all these rules, there's a powerful intelligence layer. It's the system that is constantly watching, constantly learning, and connecting all the dots across your entire digital world.
Right, that's the key question, isn't it? I mean, if we're going to be verifying everything all the time, these systems need a ton of data, or telemetry, as it's called, to figure out what's normal. Because only when you know what's normal can you instantly spot what isn't.
And this is what they're hunting for: anomalies. Things that just don't look right. You know, an employee who suddenly starts downloading thousands of files when they usually only look at a few. A service account that out of the blue tries to access a database it's never touched before. Any little thing that breaks the established pattern of normal behavior, it raises an immediate red flag.
And here's the real game changer. The system doesn't just send an email alert to some poor security analyst who might be asleep or just buried in other alerts. No, it can take immediate, automated action. It can instantly lock that suspicious account or yank that device off the network, stopping a potential attack dead in its tracks. Okay, so at this point you might be thinking, this all sounds incredibly paranoid and frankly really annoying. Am I going to get blocked from doing my job every 5 minutes? It's a fair question. Let's talk about what this actually feels like for a regular person just trying to get their work done. This is honestly the perfect analogy. When zero trust is done right, most of the time you won't even notice it's there. It's seamless because the system can see your normal, healthy behavior. You just fly right through your daily tasks. It only adds a little bit of friction, like an extra ID check, when something seems out of the ordinary. It's about being smart with security, not just being strict. So, if you take only one single thing away from this, please let it be this. You cannot just go out and buy a zero trust box off a shelf. It's not a product. It is a comprehensive strategy, a whole philosophy that has to be woven into your identity systems, your devices, your network, your apps, the whole shebang. And that leaves us with one final and pretty important thought. In this new world where we explicitly distrust the very networks we built our security on for so long, what becomes the new bedrock of trust? Well, the answer is identity and context, proving who you are and why you should be here. Mastering that, that's the future of keeping all of us secure. Thanks for tuning in.